Alright, so welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new here, like and subscribe. If you're not, we're just going to do a quick review for Spider-Man. We're very late to that, especially as far as a review. But
well, it just came out in digital, so, you know, we can celebrate that.
Yeah, true. But we definitely want to talk about it because, I mean, it's one of the most enjoyable movies that I had to watch that last year, for me.
I would say it's probably the best theater experience I have ever been a part of, and it probably will never be topped for me. Because, like, if you put it in perspective, COVID happened and the theater shut down for about 2 good years. For a good 2 years, we were not having any good big releases, like nothing. I mean, we had Kong versus Godzilla and Venom 2 and Black Widow and Eternals come out, but those weren't like, oh my gosh, we have to see this movie.
Yep.
And plus, all those were released on digital, on like HBO Max or Disney Plus at the same time, except for Eternals and Venom 2. But I mean, like, Venom 2 wasn't really that good. We'll review that at some other time. But Eternals, which was really controversial and mixed opinion, we'll get to that some other time too, probably. But this was just like the first movie event.
Yep.
Kind of like, it felt like an Avengers movie coming out. The culmination of so much, and it finally happened. And it rocked the house.
Yep.
I saw this in theater 3 times. How many times you saw it?
I saw it 4 times.
In theater?
Yeah.
Okay, you got me.
That's how good. That's how good it was.
Yeah, I saw it opening day twice.
Yep.
Once with you and once with other friends, and both showings, everyone just hoot and hollered and just cheered and celebrated, got up off their feet and clapped, and when watching this, who's seen the movie knows exactly what moments they were clapping at and cheering for, and which we'll get to in later, and I think that's all for the opening of it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go ahead and just talk about those particular scenes, I suppose. So,
Or you want me to get into the plot?
Yeah, you should probably get into the plot, and then we'll talk about those scenes.
Well, the plot of the movie is Spider-Man, Peter Parker, his secret identity has been revealed to the world, which was shown in the post-credits scene of Spider-Man Far From Home in the previous Spider-Man movie. And now the whole world knows he's Spider-Man, which completely affects his life, his Aunt May's life, his friends and girlfriend, Mary Jane, and Ned. Well, her name's not Mary Jane.
No.
In these
It's
movies.
Michelle Jones.
Michelle Jones. MJ.
Yeah.
That's stupid. But anyway, so their lives are completely turned upside down. None of them can get accepted into college because, like, Spider-Man is considered a murderer by half the people, and other half they believe he's still a hero. It's basically the court of a public opinion, but he's cleared of all murder charges thanks to a really good lawyer.
Yep. Matt Murdock
pops up, and I tell you, my friend I was sitting with during my first showing had no idea who that was. So, like, when he pops up, I just knock on his leg like this on accident. Not even just like, I'm just that pumped. And he's like, okay, so that's a big guy. That's someone big.
I was so glad that I had taken my time whenever Daredevil came out to watch. And whenever he showed up, it was crazy. And the whole scene with him, like them throwing the rocket inside, the brick inside, and him catching it. And
which really shows that he's more powerful than Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
By the way, because Spider-Man's Spidey sense didn't even pick that up.
Nope.
But Matt Murdock did.
Yep. And the whole thing about Peter, I just asked him, how'd you just do that?
I'm a really good lawyer.
It was great.
I love that because Daredevil's one of my favorites. I even love the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie.
I actually like that movie.
Which is criminally underrated. If you watch the director's cut, that is a dang good movie, and I believe it should have got a sequel. Especially Michael Clark Duncan's performance as Kingpin.
Yes, he was so good.
Truly underrated. He was so good in that role.
The final scene?
The final fight scene was really good.
Oh my gosh.
We're getting off topic now because we're talking about that. But anyway, so he shows up basically gets all the charges cleared, but like I said, the public is split 50-50. Some believe he's a murderer, some believe he's a hero. This leads to their university, the universities that they apply for, rejecting them, and which leads him to Doctor Strange's home, and which he asked him to cast a spell to make everyone forget that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Needless to say, Peter screws it up, even though I don't know why Doctor Strange probably shouldn't have been casting it in the first place.
It's not even just that. A normal, sorcerer caster would have probably pulled Peter to the side after the first little minor detail, and it would have been like, okay, you need to let me know who exactly, to go ahead and be able to know your secret identity. Everybody else is irrelevant. You got to be precise and be sure about it.
I'll take back what I said. This is something that Doctor Strange would do because he's a really cocky guy.
Yeah.
But I really was like, man, this guy really just assumed that he didn't want anyone to know. I mean, there's always someone you want to know that who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the spell goes awry and a big explosion thing happens. And next thing you know, you see Doc Ock on a bridge fighting Spider-Man.
Yep.
And boy, is it good to see Alfred Molina back as Doc Ock. He is so good.
And it's not even just that, dude. We got to see it in the trailer.
Yeah, you got to see a little bit.
We got to see it in the trailer, and yeah, everybody knew it was gonna happen. But even whenever he showed up,
people were cheering because
crazy.
That was just like the anticipation. Everyone was hyped going into it. It's like, I cannot wait to see these characters I watched growing up return in this all new culmination of all the Spider-Man movies. And it was just electric when Doc Ock shows up and they fight. And then next thing you know, Green Goblin shows up with the pumpkin bomb and the OG Power Ranger looking suit. And everyone just goes absolutely crazy, but that fight does not happen.
Not immediately, anyways. We get cut back to Doctor Strange having already caught, was it
Lizard?
Lizard? Is it
Which
just Lizard?
I really wanted to see. Yeah, it was just Lizard.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to see that fight scene because when you look at it, Doctor Strange, he looks like he just got, he went through a lot.
Yeah.
He got his butt whooped a little. And I wanted to see Lizard fight him because it's like, Doctor Strange is sorcerer. He shouldn't really have much trouble with Lizard.
Yeah,
I
I think just from his brains, I suppose he probably Doctor Strange probably underestimated him,
or he just didn't know what was. I would say he just didn't know what to expect. I mean, probably something like that, I guess. But what he basically explains to him, the multiverse is crumbling, and is pulled in all these villains. But he says villains that know who Spider-Man is. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is one of the villains is Electro, who has no idea who Spider-Man is.
Yep.
Plot hole right there.
Yep.
Who else? Yeah, all the villains that get pulled in is Sandman, who knew who Spider-Man was. Yep. Green Goblin, who knew. Dr. Octopus, who knew. Lizard, I think he knew?
No, he did.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay. And Electro. Those are the 5 main ones. But there is a 6th one that we'll get to later. So basically he tasks Peter with collecting all of these villains. Peter does so. Which also leads to one little minor problem I had with this movie. Peter's suit. Why there was no need for them to do the inside out suit thing. No reason at all other than to sell action figures.
It actually irritated me because you go back and you're sitting there. So the suit's made out of all this, and they showed it as this big extravaganza in the other movies and everything of how it's made. But yet a little, was it goo?
Oh yeah.
Basically, with the whole suit being this whole extravaganza of how it's made and everything.
It'll be fine.
Alright, and basically, just a little goo gets on there, and he can't wash it out.
Yeah.
Like, what type of? What do you take us as? We're not stupid.
I just didn't like how they just. It's literally one pointless scene to explain why the suit looks like this, just so they can sell action figures. Another action figure, or
I mean, they
another
already
skin to a game.
Mhm.
It was pointless. But anyway, so Peter
that was
goes.
kind of a mislead too, especially in the trailers, because we didn't know why it was a black suit.
Oh,
we
yeah.
all assumed it was Venom.
No, I didn't.
A lot of people did.
Oh, I assumed it was a suit that Doctor Strange gave him to help him get the villains.
I thought it was Venom too.
But there's a good reason why people would think that. But anyway, he gets all of them except for Green Goblin. Then Green Goblin, he meets Green Goblin at a homeless shelter, whatever Aunt May runs.
Yep.
And it's revealed that Goblins, which I'm glad they still kept this going, is from the first Spider-Man movie. He really just has multiple personality syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And it continues in this one, like where he's fighting the other personality. There's Norman Osborn, and then there's Green Goblin.
Yep.
One is good, one is evil.
Quick little pause. As they're meeting inside the little homeless shelter, as Peter is talking to Aunt May, you see in the background Norman stealing food.
That is.
It's so well done.
It was so subtle, but it was so funny that if you weren't like, you could have easily missed it. But it was just a really funny joke. This movie is hilarious. I will give it that.
He kept looking up at them as they were talking. He just grabbed another one.
And they noticed too. They noticed too.
Yeah.
He just keeps grabbing. I love. Why am I drawing a blank? William Dafoe. I love William Dafoe. He's one of the best actors to never. I don't think he's ever won an Oscar, so he's one of the best actors to never win an Oscar.
Oh wow! I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah. But after that, he takes them to Strange, so they got all the villains there. Strange wants to send them back to their universes where they will surely die, except for Lizard and Sandman, who don't die. So they really don't have no skin in the game for that one. If anything, they would be wanting to go home. Which actually Sandman does.
Sandman does want to go home, yeah.
Yeah, because he misses his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember from Spider-Man 3. So Peter disagrees. Him and Doctor Strange fight. Doctor Strange loses.
Through, was it algebra?
Math.
Math.
And so he's trapped for just about all the rest of the movie. Till the climax. The final battle.
Yep.
And so Peter decides he wants to cure all the villains. So he takes them to his apartment, which is actually Happy Hogan's apartment, because him and Aunt May have been staying there to stay safe. Like we said, 50-50 public opinion. Some people want him dead or in jail. Other people want him allotted and celebrated. So he takes them there. He actually cures... Oh, wait a minute. Another problem I have with this movie. They go there and they open up this Stark machine that's just sitting in Happy's basement or whatever, his closet.
Yeah.
And this machine can literally create anything. It's like a 3D printer for anything. Because in it, he's able to create cures for literally Electro, Green Goblin, and Doc Ock.
And he can make his suits in there too.
Yes, and he can make his suits in there too, but he didn't make a new suit in that one. But anyway, he cures Doc Ock. Doc Ock gives Spider-Man an upgrade to the suit with nanotech.
Yep. And
then he puts the cure on Electro, but it has to charge. Then he tries to cure Norman. Doesn't go so well.
Nah, I love that line that he says in there. I forgot what he
said. When Peter realizes that Green Goblin is taking over Norman, he says, Norman's on sabbatical.
Yeah. Norman sounds sabbatical, honey. There you go. That's what he says.
Pretty good impression.
I tried.
So then a big speech from Norman, which works on just about everyone except for Doc Ock, because Doc Ock is now good and pure like he was at the end of Spider-Man 2.
He's not hearing the voices anymore.
Yes, the voices of his arms. Yep. They make a good point. It's like, I can't hear the voices, and it's kind of a heartwarming moment. At least I thought it was, because I was just like, he was a really good man who just got corrupted, and now he's back, which made me happy, because I like it. Sometimes I like it when the villain doesn't have to die or go to jail. I like it when the villain is sometimes redeemed in the movies, and this was a good scene for me. But after that, we get to see why Green Goblin is the Spider-Man villain, because Green Goblin kicks the crap out of Spider-Man. I mean, just destroys him physically.
It's
while talking trash to him.
Not even just talking trash. He lets Spider-Man beat him up as he's laughing at him.
Yes. Like his chin doesn't even move. He's just taking punches and punches, and he's just laughing and staring him right in the eyes. And
whenever he grabbed him,
when he
slammed him through.
He slammed him like 4 floors, and then he slammed him all the way to the lobby.
Yeah.
And then right after that, kills Aunt May.
Yep. And I knew it would happen too. I knew immediately.
Well, that brought up a problem to me. Is like some people in the theater were like gasping. Like, I was just like, she's barely been in any of these movies. I don't care. I did not care that she died. It just didn't have an emotional impact on me at all. I just thought, okay. And then she said the magic words.
Yep.
And she didn't even say I'm right.
They had to change it up just a little bit.
She said,
because she's not.
Instead of with great power comes great responsibility, I believe she says, with great power there must also come
great responsibility.
Yeah. I did not. I didn't.
I was okay.
I understand why she said it, because these 3 movies have basically been an origin story for Spider-Man, but I still just did not like it at all. It didn't move me at all. How about you?
It actually did. So surprisingly, I'm not the type to like get emotional at the movies or whatever. But like, whenever it came to that, I don't know. We get to about that scene where Norman says that line. It sounds sabbatical and everything, and I'm fully zoned into the movie. I feel like I'm in the movie and I'm witnessing just with everything going on. I'm so excited at the same time.
Helps that we saw it in IMAX.
Yeah, it really did. And basically, we get to that scene. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, no. Like, as soon as the glider went, past her, and she stood back up, I knew immediately, and all I was saying was no. And I kept saying no, and then like saw that she touched her stomach, and then I was like, dang. So like. I had to,
The fact that she got up from taking that glider shot, I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. She took that like a champ. That was crazy.
But, so we get to that scene, and, Happy Hogan finally shows up.
That actually made me, I actually felt for Happy. When Happy saw Aunt May die, because he could see through the windows, I was like, oh, poor Happy. Because Happy's been in these movies since Iron Man. He's been there the entire time.
Was it the first one or second?
First Iron Man. He directed and was a character in it. So he's been there.
I keep forgetting he's a director too, man.
You forget John Favreau's a director?
Yeah.
He also had a cameo in Batman Forever.
Really?
Yes, completely unnoticeable, but he's there. But anyway, getting off track. But what leads to is probably, I think, cinematically my favorite shot of Spider-Man, where he's standing in front of this great big sign that's playing the Daily Bugle, J. Jonah Jameson, basically blaming Spider-Man for the death of his own aunt, while Spider-Man's staring at it in the rain, and the blue light just shining over everything just makes it look so good.
Do you know what scene it reminds me of?
What?
Remember that Spider-Man 3 scene? It's not the same exact shot or nothing like that. Whenever he first discovers the Venom suit, and he's He's on the wall.
He's on like the gargoyle.
Yeah.
He's like standing on top of the. He's like,
yeah.
It was in all the posters.
Yeah.
A brooding scene, but like this one, I felt this one had more weight.
Oh yeah,
this one because the cinematography just in that scene alone just is amazing. It's probably the best. It's definitely the best of the whole movie.
Yeah.
But what happens next?
Oh, before we get to that, Tom Holland's acting, out of all the 3 movies, this one was by far, so far, especially when you get to that scene, it is the best acting I've ever seen him do.
So yeah, speaking of that, it's like when anyone asks like what my favorite Spider-Man movie is, or whenever we discuss it, I always say Tobey's my favorite Spider-Man, but Andrew Garfield's the best actor to play Spider-Man, and Tom Holland has given the best performance as Spider-Man. But overall, Tobey's still my favorite.
Yep, we're on the same train with that. Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of Tobey, what happens next?
Oh man.
Ned and MJ are in his kitchen or whatever, and they're all down because Aunt May died, and Ned has a sling ring. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange's ring. And apparently Ned has some magic in him because he opens a portal, and lo and behold, who comes through?
Andrew Garfield.
Our boy Andrew.
But here's the thing. Alright, and I never told anybody this, and I still hadn't until like now.
I just want to say, you had to be there in the theater in my first showing just to experience how many people just lit up that theater. I was one of them, but we just all went crazy out of our minds.
Honestly, whenever I first seen it, especially his second showing too, people went crazy too. But I'm sure it was everybody's first full time.
Well, yeah, it was it was opening day, but that first showing I went to, you can tell there was some major fanboys. When I went to the first showing, there was a group of 4 or 5 people, all wearing Spider-Man zip-up suits, and it was the most hilarious thing we've ever seen. Because as soon as 2 of them were already sitting down, 2 of them came in later, and they couldn't find them because they couldn't see through their masks. So they just stand in the front of the theater for about 10 minutes trying to find their friends, while their friends are up there saying, "We're up here."
So, with everybody reacting like that, what did it feel surreal to you whenever he came out? Because the way the way he came out and whenever he took off, it just felt like I'm still seeing Photoshop.
I don't know. I think it just felt like a weight was lifted because we spent a year and a half
speculating.
Yeah, a year and a half of speculation, of rumors, of confirmed stories that they were in it, of a bunch of leaked pictures that some were proven false, others could have been real. No way of knowing.
A year of Andrew Garfield denying it.
Yes, a year of Andrew Garfield deserved an Oscar just for his denial of being in this movie.
And a year of Tobey literally not confirming, but being no. I might be in there.
No one was interviewing Tobey, though. Tobey hasn't really been in anything, since Spider-Man. He hasn't really done much. So, because Andrew had Tick, Tick, Boom, so he had that entire press circuit to do, and he just, every single time he'd get interviewed, he'd get asked, "Hey, are you in Spider-Man? Are you in Spider-Man?" And he'd always just say no. So, Marvel, if you need a guy, call Andrew. I was about to say call Tobey.
Yeah, Andrew will basically take it to the grave.
He'll take it to the grave. Which now I can't trust any actor now. No matter what any actor says, I can't trust him. But where was I? Oh yeah, Andrew comes through the portal. Everyone goes crazy. Mm-hmm. And the CGI when he comes through the portal is not the best.
That's what I was.
It is so rubbery looking. Maybe early Xbox 360 graphic-y looking.
It felt like you were playing PlayStation 2 whenever Spider-Man came out. Was Spider-Man 2 came out on PlayStation? That's what it felt like. But we were so invested in the
funny thing is, a lot of the CGI in this movie was so bad that they actually fixed it and re-released the movie during its theatrical run.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So, okay, so it made sense. I sat there and I tried to figure out what was going on whenever I went to watch it that third time. I was sitting there like,
well, when my first showing, I was actually, I was like, that's not Andrew Garfield's body type. That's not Andrew Garfield, is it?
that's why I said the
Yeah,
Photoshop thing, because it
didn't look the body of that Spider-Man, the CGI didn't look anything like
Nope.
Andrew's. I keep saying Toby because you know what I'm ready to talk about. But of Andrew Spider-Man, it looked nothing like him. Even the suit didn't really look like Andrew's suit. I mean, like, it had the same design and everything, but the color didn't, like, pop like it did in the Andrew movies.
Yeah. Also, before we get to the main man, himself, I'd like to touch on the whole bread thing. She sits there and just starts throwing bread at him like he's not dressed up in a full Spider-Man suit.
That felt like that was such a forced Marvel joke.
But it worked. It worked on me. I laughed. I laughed every single time.
Honestly, Andrew kind of like made it work for me.
Yep.
Because he really steals the show in this movie.
Yeah. That's the reason why people want what's it called?
Amazing Spider-Man 3. And everyone's hoping that Morbius and Venom take place in Andrew's universe.
Morbius. Okay.
Yeah.
So from there, he does it again.
Trying to get Tom Holland's Peter to show up. But lo and behold, our favorite youth pastor walks through, Tobey Maguire, and I tell you what, I went ape shit when I saw Tobey walk through that. I went crazy.
Oh,
and
man.
The theater went insane. Like I didn't expect everyone to go that insane because we already saw Andrew come through, so everyone's expecting Tobey. But when Tobey came through, I'm telling you, people went berserk in my first showing.
All I remember, I don't know if you noticed whenever we were watching it, as soon as Andrew came out and like Ned was doing it again. Ned did it the first time and no portal fully opened, and then he was about to do it. Everybody was like literally about to.
Oh yeah, you just hear a
and as soon as he showed up, it went crazy. And my favorite thing about that is it's like he never left Toby, because with how quirky he was as Peter Parker, he did the same exact thing from the jump. He turns around, there was a portal back there.
He's still his same awkward self, and I love it. Even though like going back and watching those, it kind of feels cringy during his awkwardness, especially in the first one, in my opinion. But like watching it in this movie, it's just like, man, it's like a breath of fresh air. Mm-hmm. Like just seeing it again, I was just like, yes, thank you, Kevin Feige, for making this happen.
And then basically they both realize that they're Spider-Man, and
they realize what's going on.
Yep.
And so they go set out to find Peter, and Tom Holland Spider-Man, and then you see that little silhouette when because he's at the school on the roof, and then Ned and MJ go comfort him, and then Spider-Sense picks up the other two Spider-Men, and you see that silhouette of them both on top of the building coming down, and it's just so beautiful. Everyone cheered at that silhouette my first showing. I don't remember my second one with you, but
they did.
Every time those two were like, they cut to those two in the same shot, everyone just cheered and celebrated. Mm-hmm. So
let me see.
They all talk.
They all talk about the whole
how they both lost their Uncle Bens, and how I'm going to figure that out. Tom Holland lost Aunt May, and
then Andrew lost
Gwen.
His MJ. That's what he called.
Oh yeah. He didn't mention Uncle Ben, did he?
No. He said Uncle Ben later.
Oh.
Yeah. But the way that Andrew, because Andrew is the better actor out of
he's the best actor of everyone in this film.
So with him talking, the way that he talked about it like you could tell how much it still like hurts him, even though like throughout the movie they're hinting at, oh, this is an older version of him that's still dealing with that trauma, but it, it just gets through. Like you're able to feel
He
it.
acts it really well.
Yeah.
Like his emotion, like you can see his eyes are starting to water and get red, and he's starting to tear up just talking about it, and he sells it really, really well. And I loved it because, like I said, he's the best actor to play Spider-Man. Yeah. He's probably going to be the first Spider-Man actor to win a Oscar. He was nominated this year, didn't win it, but he was nominated. And I don't know why people think Tom Holland's going to be that. I gawk at that. That's funny, but
I mean, he's relatively young. You never know.
Yeah, but he's also relatively not that good to me. I mean, he's not at that level yet.
No, maybe not on Andrews.
Maybe in 15 to 20 years.
But yeah. So basically, we get to and they all talk and everything, and they're all trying to cure, the villains.
We get into a science montage to where they all come up with cures for the villains in a high school science lab. Please make that make sense.
Where are you gonna find
all this stuff? Oh, we want to cure Norman? Good thing we got a high school science lab with all the right ingredients to make a potion to cure Norman.
Nah, my favorite part about before the whole montage happens is whenever Andrew's like, yeah, I've already cured what's it called?
Lizard. Yeah, he's already.
Yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And then they look at him and he's like, yeah, it's no big deal.
Yeah, he's kind of awkward. He's kind of awkward in this movie. Like they don't know how to respond out. He's just so like comfortable around them and like okay with the situation that they just don't know how to respond to it sometimes, which I love too.
It was great.
Yes.
And then we got the iconic Spider-Man little meme of them pointing at each other.
We got that twice.
We did get that twice. It was.
I thought it was forced. He liked it. I thought it was forced. I didn't really. We also had that. I'm something of a scientist myself meme from Norman. I like that one more, even though it was edited kind of weird. Like they put that in after, and but I was okay with it.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it.
I liked how what's it called?
Oh, also they cure Sandman. It's like I'm pretty sure that Sandman got the way he was because he fell into a particle accelerator.
Yeah. So
they create a small, tiny, compact particle accelerator in a high school science lab?
Wait. Let's go back a second. Totally forgot about this joke. The whole Jamie Foxx, be careful where you fall.
Oh yeah, because like most of the villains, or just Electro and Sandman, both became the way they are because they fell in unfortunate spots.
Yeah, and all like Jamie Foxx is charismatic, so it's like it would have worked.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx did not play the same character. I don't care what anyone says. That is not the same Electro that we saw in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know that the color's different. He's not blue anymore, but I'm talking about like the character himself, the way he acts.
He's more confident.
He's more confident. He's more charismatic. It's really just Jamie Foxx playing Jamie Foxx. But they all come up with all these cures, and then they tell the villains through social media to meet them at the Empire, or not the Empire, the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I did like the part where they had Ned ask them about like having best friends and stuff.
Oh yeah, because in the comics, Ned becomes Hobgoblin, which everyone's been like waiting for that to happen in the movies. I really haven't.
No.
Because I think you would have to replace the actor unless the actor all of a sudden gets jacked and stuff. But,
Hobgoblin, there's a different version of him that's not played by that character, so I'm sure they would probably go that route before they even went that route.
It felt like a little nudge because when he's talking about he's asking Toby Spider-Man about his best friend. He's like, Toby's like, yeah, I had a best friend, best friend I ever had, up to the moment I killed him. And that
Well,
scene.
he tried to kill me, and he died in my arms.
Oh, that's what he said.
No, that's what he said.
Now wish he would have said what I said. That would have been more awkward. But but yeah, he said that, and I was just that had me laughing.
And then as basically they're about to gather everybody to go, find the villains and everything. Ned literally, with the other two Spideys behind him, he goes, Peter. He's talking to the Tom Holland Spider-Man, and he's like, I would never do anything to hurt you.
Oh yeah, he reassures
like
that hey, I'm never gonna do anything bad to you or hurt you because he just doesn't want history to repeat himself.
Yeah. And then Andrew, and I don't know why I laughed so hard at that. Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, puts his hand on Ned's shoulder. He's like, yes.
He's so comforting. I love Andrew in this movie, if you can't tell. Honestly, I was more excited to see Toby, but I got more out of Andrew than I did Toby.
Yep. And then so, they call everybody over to Empire State.
Not Empire State.
No,
Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty, my bad.
Which they are turning into a statue for Captain America. They're literally just slapping. I noticed in the trailers. I just thought there's no way they're really doing that. In that universe, there's no way that got approved. They're just slapping Captain America's shield over the torch of the Statue of Liberty.
Well, they're particularly doing that just because of the fight we got. That's it.
It's
just purely for the fight.
I just want to know. I just want to see. I wish I could live in this world just to watch the news. I just want to see CNN and Fox News debate about these things. I guess there wasn't enough space to build a second statue of just Captain America. They have to just mesh the Statue of Liberty and Captain America's shield. That was dumb. But yeah, they all fight there. Great fights. Each Spider-Man has their moments. Mm-hmm. Get to see them all swing together. Not really that great. I mean, it doesn't really do anything groundbreaking.
No, not anything groundbreaking. But I would think the little shot of them finally working together as a team.
Yeah, that should be that's an iconic superhero shot.
Yeah. And
it probably will be for years.
Mm-hmm.
All the villains get cured. Doc Ock shows up.
Gets his redeeming moment.
He's the one that cures Electro. He saves both Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and Tobey Spider-Man. I like the moment we get between Tobey Spider-Man and Doc Ock where he finishes his sentence and they get to do the callback line from the Spider-Man 2 where he asks him how he's been and he's just trying to do better.
Yep.
Ergo Spider-Man 2. I love that. That was basically the only...
Basically, Goblin comes in with the little...
Doctor Strange returns. Strange
exactly.
returns, gets the box. Strange is really pissed off, obviously. But then he's trying to send them all back, but then...
realizes...
Yeah, Green Goblin comes back, puts a bomb,
yep.
a pumpkin bomb in the... I don't know what, they never gave it a name. It's just a box.
Yeah.
The multiverse box, that's what we're going to call it. The multiverse box. It blows up, all heck breaks loose, the multiverse starting to collapse on itself.
The shield falls down, and as shield is falling down...
Oh, yes. This is the true redemption.
Yep. So basically, MJ falls, and basically Tom Holland, Spider-Man, goes through each floor. The glider hits him. Everybody... That one part, I think... there was every single person gasped.
I heard, yeah, you could hear a gasp in my first, you could hear all the gasps in my first showing of it.
And then they show Andrew Garfield, and
everyone knew what was coming.
Yeah, but I've never heard the theater louder
than
whenever they showed it because they knew it was coming, and he caught her, and like I said, man, he is the best actor out of all three of them.
I like how they gave him a minute to show how much that meant to his character. They didn't just cut right after he caught her. They just stayed on them for
that line that she did added a little bit extra. It was like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, she's the one that just fell.
Yeah.
And he called her, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Because she can tell how much that meant to him, what he was going.
And there was no proper response as far
he
as
did,
speaking.
He,
No, he shook
he
his
just
head.
shook his head. He just gave her a nod.
He was tearing up and everything, and literally there were at least 5 or 6 people that were crying in the theater whenever that scene happened.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, there were a couple, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was so well done, and then we get to the final battle.
Yeah, with Tom Holland, Spider-Man, and Green Goblin, and it's an okay fight.
Mm-hmm.
It's meh to me.
I like the little power bomb he did where he flipped him over.
Yeah, that's in the Spider-Man game.
Is it?
Yeah, it's one of the moves they pulled a move from that, and it was that one, and it was okay, but the whole thing is Tom Holland wants to kill Green Goblin, and the other 2 Peters try to convince him not to ahead of time, and then in the moment, Peter picks up the glider, and he's going to stab Norman with it, but Toby stops him, which I loved, and I loved how Tom is trying with all his strength, but Toby's stronger. I don't care what it says. Yep. Toby is stronger, and he's just holding him back.
There's something I want to touch on with all 3 Spider-Mans later too. After doing this,
and the next thing you know, this is where I heard it. I heard a shriek when this happened. Toby gets stabbed.
Yep.
And I'm getting ready to tear up.
Yep.
Because if Toby had died, I would have cried. But he doesn't. Don't worry. Norman stabs Toby, and Toby falls to the ground.
Yep. Iconic line in the movie. It's happened before.
Oh, yeah, that comes later. Andrew throws Tom the cure, and Tom cures Norman.
Yep.
So, and Norman has no recollection, memory of what happened, which I love too, because I always say that Norman's a good guy, and he tries to be a good father in the first movies, but it's 2 completely different people.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they kept it that way in this movie, because I like Norman. And that's what happens after that. Oh yeah. So the multiverse is collapsing on itself. You can see all these villains coming through these cracks in the sky. Yep. Did you spot anyone that you remember?
They did show a different version of Vulture, actually.
I remember seeing Rhino, Scorpion.
Scorpion was the one that I noticed initially whenever I first watched it.
Yeah, I heard someone say they saw the clones, the Ben O'Reilly. I think it was Ben Riley Spider-Man. You know, Scarlet Spider with the hoodie.
I didn't see that actually.
I heard someone say that. I heard other people say they saw Black Cat, but I think someone. Oh, I did see Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah,
I did see him. So it's like a good little nugget there for all the fans. So they come up with this. I don't know how this is supposed to work. Big plot hole. It's coming up.
This for about an hour. We couldn't figure it out.
This plot hole. They decide to wipe the Earth's memory of Peter Parker, not Peter Parker as Spider-Man. Peter Parker, period. Which one makes no sense of how that would save the multiverse, and I'll get into how that makes the spell makes no sense of how it would do that. But anyway, they do that. Peter says his goodbyes to MJ, and Ned tells him what's about to happen.
Before we get all to
wait, we also get our goodbye from the 3 Spider-Man where they all hug.
Yep.
Love that.
Okay, so there's a little backstory on that too. So whenever they were done shooting the movie, that was actually originally the hug that Tom Holland gave them, and actually teared up with all 3 of them crying. Oh. So the director had them do that at the end of the movie just to make it an iconic scene, which was a solid scene. But based upon the whole Doctor Strange wanting, with the whole spell making them forget that Peter Parker exists and everything. Okay, cool. Everybody forgets. Let's say there's nothing goes awry with that. Everybody forgets.
It works. So the multiverse is saved until Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness comes up in next month. So we figure out what the hell happened there.
But wait,
which makes this
How about
whole thing
all the
pointless.
documented stuff?
That exactly.
That's
Thank
the
you.
point.
Thank you.
the cameras just don't automatically delete their.
So basically, like, I guess the spell deleted every known picture, every known file, every known anything of Peter Parker. But Spider-Man, everyone knows there's a Spider-Man, but no one knows what Peter Parker or who he is. He doesn't exist.
So for anybody that basically knew Spider-Man, right? That he's taken off the mask. So what they see now is he's taken off the mask and they don't see anything. That's basically
all their memory of him being unmasked is deleted, like from their memory, or is clouded.
But what if he was Spider-Man in front of them and then he revealed? Like, that's what I'm saying.
They're gonna say, "Oh, who are you?" They have no idea who that is. Like Peter Parker.
Okay. Cool. Okay. But that's a little plot hole for me.
But he goes to see MJ in the cafe she works. He sees Ned. He goes there to tell MJ what happened, who he is. But then he sees MJ's scar from the final battle, and he decides not to, which is honestly the most heroic thing he's done in all these movies, really.
Because he's created his
own he's sacrificing his love for her safety, which was one of the most heroic things you can do, really. I love that scene, but what was it? Who was it? Oh yeah, Ned walks in. It was just weird. I don't know. I love that scene. That's all I got to say about it. But then he goes to the
apartment.
Aunt May. No, he goes to Aunt May's grave.
Where
he runs into Happy Hogan, and Happy Hogan. It's revealed. I mean, like, Happy Hogan still remembers dating Aunt May, but doesn't remember the nephew of hers that lived with her. I don't get it. I mean, it's just the spell makes no sense at all.
Whenever I initially first saw Happy there, I thought that was a touch that Doctor Strange did to at least give him one person that knew. And whenever, I realized that Happy didn't, and you realize that Happy doesn't, for me anyways, it was like it's not even a letdown, it was like, come on, man, he gotta at least have one person.
I don't know. I get why he didn't reveal or tell everything to MJ, but why didn't he reveal and tell everything to Happy?
Especially with Happy being the person that was
with Happy being around all this stuff before he ever met Spider-Man, he is more inclined to believe him.
Yep.
So that makes no sense. Then it leads to Peter getting a new apartment by himself. He's dropped out of high school, has to get his GED.
Also, they could have capitalized on the Spider-Man, or the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
The Give Me Rent guy.
Yep.
I wish we could have seen that guy so bad. I love that guy. That's one of my favorite side characters from the the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
But so Peter creates a new suit, which I'm in love with. I love that suit.
That new suit is beautiful, actually. Yeah.
Yes, and swings around, and the movie ends.
Yep. And then we have our post-credit scene,
because remember the second scene. The second post-credit scene is just the trailer for Doctor Strange.
True. Okay. So there's just the scene, and it's just basically Venom, and then
it shows Venom.
Yeah.
Getting the land of getting basically
the whole
told.
story.
The whole story of the MCU from a bartender.
Yep.
Who plays the guy from Ted Lasso plays him. The guy that's I
haven't seen Ted Lasso.
You haven't seen Ted Lasso? I have to search this now because he's always saying his name. He said, "Football is life." I love him. 1 second, I have to find him.
I want to say his name's Danny something. Danny Rojas. I didn't even get to his name, but I remembered it. I think. Let me just make sure that is his name. Yep, Danny Rojas. Danny Rojas. Football is life. That was a great. Just to see him was great. So he gets to the lay of the land, and then next thing, all of a sudden, he is transported back to his universe.
Yep.
What a wasted tease.
Well, whoa. You missed something, though.
I'm about to bring it up.
Okay.
I'm about to bring up. There's one plot hole. There's a plot hole. Wait, you remember when I said that Doctor Strange said that he only brought in people that knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man?
How did Venom make it?
How did Venom get there? Venom didn't know either. So you had the 6 people that came through. 3 of them actually didn't know who Spider-Man was.
3?
Was it 3?
Two.
Oh, 2.
Just Electro and.
Oh yeah, we said Lizard. You said Lizard knew.
Lizard knew. Yeah.
Okay. So and then he's transported back, except for this tiny piece of symbiote that's on the bar, and it moves, and then it just cuts to black. That makes no sense at all either. No sense.
It
That
doesn't make sense that it stayed, but a lot of people say this, and I can understand why. It's because Venom is not a person. That's the only reason, like, that little bit can stay. And I could just a little bit understand that. But the fact that they didn't from the jump even know
the fact that, like,
who Spider-Man was, Peter Parker was, anything.
Well, the fact that the end credit scene in Venom 2 was Tom Hardy transporting into the MCU, which got everyone went crazy about. Everyone just went absolutely nuts about. Just for it to end like that is just such a letdown in the biggest way. And then the second post-credit scene is just a trailer for Doctor Strange 2, but I could have sworn I saw something is that originally it was going to be Peter getting the black suit. I may have been wrong, but I could have sworn I saw that. I don't know if that was part of the special features and the digital release or what, but it was a poorly CGI'd end credit scene. That's what I saw. But they didn't happen, so it's not happened yet in the MCU. And I don't think he doesn't need to get the black suit.
No,
there's no point in him getting the black suit,
especially right that now. Early.
He doesn't need to get the black suit for at least 2 or 3 more movies. So
honestly, I'd let Flash get it before anything else.
Oh yeah, well I forgot to mention Flash is in there. All of a sudden he finds out Spider-Man's Peter Parker, claims to be his best friend, writes a whole book about it. And the fun fact, the name of that book is Flashpoint. I love that. That's a little nudge.
But overall, for me, this movie is it's fantastic time, actually. I don't think, like, it's one of those movies for me, like, there are certain movies that I have to watch at least once a year or once or twice a year. And that's going to be one of them for me.
That's not going to be one for me. I'm not even going to lie. It was the best experience I've ever had at a movie theater, but this is far from my favorite Spider-Man movie.
No. I mean,
yeah.
It's not...
I believe that this movie's faults got covered up by the big cameos and the big dangling of keys. Like, ooh, look, we got Matt Murdock's Daredevil over here. Ooh, look, here's Andrew and Toby over there. Ooh, Green Goblin over here. But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I still like this movie.
Because, like, for me, here's my rank, and I'm sure...
Oh, you want to go ahead and do Spider-Man ranks?
Yeah, I mean...
Okay, you go first.
I'll just go my top 3. So, my number 1, Spider-Man 2. It's the go-to. It's the safe haven for all Spider-Man people. I don't care what nobody say. My second, though, is the Amazing Spider-Man 1. The first one. I was genuinely surprised at how much I liked that movie whenever I went back and watched it. And then my third one, I don't know, there was something beautiful, and like I don't know why it grew on me because I watched it again. Far From Home grew on me, not because of Spider-Man, Mysterio.
Oh.
It was beautifully shot, and I like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio.
Mysterio's actually planned to return in the final fight scene or the final battle in Spider-Man: No Way Home.
That would have made more sense. That would have been like the whole time it was an illusion.
Well,
that would
have completed the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
But like they decided against it, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's your ranking. Or that's your top three.
Yeah.
Mine's Spider-Man 2. Probably second would be Spider-Man 1 because that movie's just like that's probably I think that was the first movie I ever saw in theaters, and so it holds a special place in my heart. I probably watch that movie once a year, and plus the Nickelback song "Hero."
Yeah.
Work out to it all the time. Just love it. Third favorite. I guess Spider-Man: No Way Home.
No Way Home.
Yeah, because this is the first of the Marvel Spider-Man movies or the MCU Spider-Man movies that I really felt like was a Spider-Man movie. I don't know. When I think of a Spider-Man movie, I expect web slinging.
Yeah.
I like to see web slinging, and
the first two didn't.
Didn't have any of that. So I mean, I just like. And plus this, it was. I didn't think. I think. Was it Homecoming? I think Homecoming's a bit overrated.
Yeah. No. Honestly, if you go back, for me, Homecoming is actually the last of the Spider-Man movies that I'll watch. I'll watch the Amazing Spider-Man 2 before I watch Homecoming.
Really?
Yeah, because not even how it is. It just it feels like Homecoming and even Far From Home, they don't feel like Spider-Man movies. They feel like Avengers movies. Because there's so much going on in there. Like, Far From Home does a good job of maintaining that balance, but Homecoming, there's so much Iron Man. There's so much of other characters pushing through. You only get that 30 minutes.
I would describe the Homecoming and Far From Home as they feel like Disney Plus shows with big Marvel cinematic climaxes. In my opinion, I'm sorry. That's how I feel about them. They don't really. To me, it just doesn't feel like I'm watching a movie take place in New York.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then also what I wanted to touch on, because I want your ranking, because I was sitting there because a bunch of people kept saying. No. You gave me your ranking. I was talking about for Spider-Man, right? Because they were talking about strength and everything, and I was just sitting there yo, you guys can't even compare. For me, Toby, bro, it's not even close. What are you guys talking about? How Tom Holland can beat the crap out of the other two Spider-Man? They missed the fight. They missed the.
Toby was just a straight brawler. He just throw hands, just straight up punches. Andrew was more acrobatic, but not as acrobatic as Tom, because Tom was a gymnast,
and everything,
so he does a lot of flips and stuff, which honestly takes me out, because I mean you do so many flips in just one fight scene. It's just are you gonna throw something? Are you going to throw a punch, a kick, or something? I'm tired of seeing you do flips and just happen to kick someone while you're doing your backflip.
For me, I'll say it like this. As far as Spider-Man wise, Andrew Garfield had the best web slinging out of all those movies.
I think Toby did.
Toby?
Yeah, I like Toby's the most.
I liked Andrew's for me, especially what was it? Was it the Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2, which started off with him? It was 2, with him slinging, with the
beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 2 started off with him web slinging, but
Amazing
Spider-Man 1 had the POV shot of him web slinging, which I kind of liked.
But yeah, I mean, overall, not Far From Home, No Way Home, a good time. We have our Spider-Man rankings. I am really tired. So if you guys enjoyed this review as well, like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. We are out. it.